Hi everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel and another paper crafting video tutorial. Today we are going to be doing Betterpress made easy and creating 15 cards using brand new Pinkfresh Studio Betterpress press plate and die products from the December 2023 release. And yes, it really is that easy to create beautiful, elegant cards that don't look like you'd only spent a few minutes making them. That is the goal, I think, after all. If you are anything like me and you need a lot of thank you cards, birthday cards to have on hand at all times, then keep watching because I think you're going to like this video. So today we're going to create 5 each of 5 different styles of cards using a different press plate and coordinating die from Pinkfresh Studio, and they're all going to be tied together with the new sentiment set. So here are the 3 press plates I'm using and that press plate greeting set, which is going to work with all of these and anything else that you may have on hand. To make the most of my space on the paper, since I will be die cutting these, you could just press them right into your cotton Betterpress paper. You will want to use the cotton card panels or paper from Spellbinders. Now, I know some people have said that they have good luck with other paper. I personally just really love the results I get with the cotton card panels. I will be using the porcelain color today. I do like bisque as well. These are the A2 size panels, and I think they work fantastic. Now, as I was mentioning, here on the Spellbinders Betterpress platform, you can see that I am positioning not only my main focal point design, but greetings onto this A2 size panel. If you have the A size panel, try to work within those grid lines, or if you're using maybe a half sheet of cardstock or something, just adjust that way. Because I'm using the cotton card panels, I am just positioning everything within that A2 size frame. Same goes for the cover of the Betterpress. I have taped it in place with a little low tack tape on the cover. Now this is easy. If you have seen my Betterpress videos in the past, you know that this is a very simple technique to do. It isn't like maybe the Glimmer machine from Spellbinders where we're learning foiling. It literally is inking up the press plates and running them through your die, or running the platform rather through the die cutting machine. I'm using lots of colorful archival ink. You will want to use archival ink with these press plates for great results. Spellbinders has a bunch of archival inks in different colors. You may have some archival ink already on hand, just to get the best results. Now, this first result, I probably didn't get the best color coverage with that lighter blue color. I probably needed to ink it up a little bit better, but I'm still going to use it. I still think it's beautiful. Now, I didn't actually remove my tape. I end up kind of just tucking my paper under it each time. And because I want to do several panels with the same press plate design, I will probably switch up my greetings from card to card. I will use a lot of the thank you, but there's tons of greetings. I think I did end up using every greeting or almost every greeting in the sentiment set, but as long as it fits within this A2 size, excuse me, I want to make the most of my space. Excuse me again. I really thought it would be fun today, because I am not coloring in my images, to go ahead and literally do lots of different color blends just for fun. So you're going to see lots of color blends with these archival inks, and I'm going to continue inking up each one of these each one of these cardstock, the cotton card panels, with different color combinations. That's just for interest. If you want to create a set of cards that all coordinates and matches, you can ink it up with the same color combination over and over. Now, the key to cleaning your Betterpress press plates is archival ink cleaner. I have linked that down in the description. You're going to see me using it throughout this. I use it to clean the press plates and my platform after each use, just to make sure and keep it clean. Now, if you're going to use the same color, you could ink it up. I think they say 10, 15 times, maybe a little more before the results aren't great without cleaning in between. So let's say you want to do the Betterpress in black every time. You're going to be taking some watercolors or colored pencils and coloring in your image. You could ink it up every time, or multiple times, pardon me, run it through before having to actually clean this. Some of my color blends are more subtle than others. You can see now that I did die cut all of these off camera. Look at that intricate, detailed die cutting. It is absolute perfection. And I'm going to go ahead and take some just regular cardstock. I like Nina 110-pound weight. And I want to create some interesting backgrounds for my cards. To do this, I am taking this stencil layering set from Pinkfresh Studio. This has been out for a few years now. It's one of my favorites. Instead of stenciling them separately, I have layered them together, and I'm going to just be doing easy ink blends on my background. Now, I did try to coordinate them back to the ink colors that I used for the Betterpress so that everything coordinates. It's very tone on tone. If I did a ink blend color that has multiple colors on the Betterpress, I'm going to replicate that for my stenciled background for this tone on tone look. If you want a more subtle look, I would probably choose one color. I will do that a little bit later. I don't know if I shared that in the video or I just show it in the finished cards, but where I just did one color, did it kind of light. You'll notice I didn't take the stencil design all the way to the outer edge. That just softens the edge and almost gives it an automatic framed up look. It doesn't have to be perfect either. In a couple places, you can see the ink got a little heavy. It will smooth out as it dries. Plus, more than likely, I can disguise that in the finished design with either my greeting or the frame or element I use on the card. So I will be doing this for all 15 cards. I won't be stenciling them all on camera, just to save time, and it's the same thing over and over. I did use the Altenew stamp wheel to help hold at least that base layer in place. I probably could have taped the top one down as well, but I found I didn't need to most of the time. Once I have my panels all inked or ink blended, I am going to be doing an easy splatter with Distress Mica stains. Now, I did switch up the Distress Mica stains from panel to panel, just depending on kind of the look I wanted. So kind of some pinks here on these. And I will list all of those colors down in the description below. More of a gold color. I think I used Unraveled here, but it just depended. You could do the same color on all of them. And in fact, Unraveled would be a great one. It's pretty light. Frozen Fog would be a good one if you just kind of want some sparkle, shine, and distress, but don't want an actual color. But I'm going to be using everything from pinks to blues, to more of this kind of yellowish gold color. Champagne maybe is what I'll call it. It's called Unraveled. Just depending on the background. It adds interest. With no coloring, minimal embellishment, I still want these cards to look very rich and elegant, and this is a great way to achieve that. Once we have our backgrounds, I am going to go ahead and do the Betterpress for the remaining 2 press plate elements that we will be using for the remaining 10 cards. So that first set was my first set of 5 cards. I do have some extra sentiments. I can then use on some of these cards as well. I will end up mixing and matching just depending on the finished card design and how I think everything looks. And again, making the most of the space on my A2 cotton card panel with additional sentiments. For 10 of the cards, I will be die cutting not only the press plate design, but the sentiment for each card. For the remaining 5 card panels, I'm going to be showing you how I am going to do the Betterpress press plate, and then I'm going to line up my greeting and I am going to press that into that same panel and then die cut. It won't be a separate die cut. So lots of really, really great options for this. The circular design was really fun to go in with multiple colors. I love how this turned out. Really fun to look at, almost rainbow-ish. So if you are a fan of rainbow designs on your cards, you might like playing with the different ink colors and seeing what kind of blends that you can get for your card designs. Oh my goodness, look how beautiful that is. And just like with the previous 5 card panels, we are going to switch colors. I'm going to try several things. This was playtime that resulted in 15 cards, which you can't get any better than that, really. I love being able to start off January 2024 with a bunch of cards, and you could even make more than this. Obviously, I just kind of wanted to show some mass producing of 15 or 5 designs per press plate, but have fun with it. Make it your own. Do, you know, as many as you want and have fun with this. Playtime for me is fantastic because I get to play with new products or a new technique or whatever the case may be. But the end result for me is always some cards that I can have on hand to mail out to friends and family and you guys. So now this is the 3rd panel. This is the one where I'm actually going to not die cut a separate greeting. We're going to use the same press plate sentiment set, but you'll notice that I am being a little more careful. When I am inking this up, I'm going to keep it lined up in the middle of the A2 panel. This is important because when I go to die cut this, I want to know where to place my sentiment to die cut it. I probably could have shifted it left or right and been a little bit more mindful of that and saved some of my card panel, but I didn't. And so it'll work out fine because I am not going to remove my cotton card from the cover of my Betterpress, but I'm going to take one of my sentiments and I'm placing it right in the center, inking it up, and we're going to run it through again. I should have mentioned early on, oh, look how good that looks. That's so pretty. I should have mentioned this early on in the video. I am not pulling my die cut machine over. You take your platform and plates out because you're running the platform through. If you are familiar with the Glimmer hot foil machine from Spellbinders, it works the same way. So the pressure of running it through your die cut machine through the rollers is pressing the Betterpress letterpress into your cardstock card panel, and that is giving you that beautiful indentation and color. So this is a really fun option as well to do the Betterpress all on one piece. But the great thing is there is still a die that die cuts this amazing shape. So instead of a plain white background, we're going to have that beautiful stenciled plaid background for this as well. Same thing as before. We're creating multiple different colors. I'm really loving like the ombre effects or multiple colors on these. If you want to color them in, you can always do the Betterpress in something more basic like the black or brown, and then color it in with your favorite colored pencils or watercolor. You could ink blend over it. So many options. It's really, really fun. I find that I kind of get into a system. One of the other things and one of the other reasons that I really like doing multiples when I'm doing something like the Betterpress is if I already have all of the inks out, I have the platform out, I might as well make multiples. And then I can clean it all up all at once, you know, put all the inks away, put all the tools away. Just making the most of my time that I'm spending there creating. So once we have all of these inked, pressed, die cut, and ready to go, and we have all of our backgrounds stenciled and spritzed with Distress Mica Stain, it's time to assemble the cards. And I am going to be gluing everything down directly to the background. They are pretty delicate as far as die cuts. The frames probably could, the larger frames, the square and the circle, could be popped up with foam adhesive fairly easily, but I decided to just glue them directly to the background. I did die cut shadows for most of the text. Sometimes it's craft, sometimes it's a dark slate gray. I'm slightly offsetting the Betterpress greeting on a solid cardstock greeting to help it pop a little bit, but we're gluing the frame or the background element. We're gluing our sentiment down, and then I'm embellishing parts of the frame with these little mini gem stickers. You could also color in, if you wanted to at this point, Nouveau crystal drops, your favorite pearls, sequins, whatever it might be. I loved these rainbow gems and kind of just tried to follow the colors in the design. I do end up adding a few more gems than what I'm showing here on the finished cards, and you will see those here in just a little bit when I do a walkthrough of all of the cards. But you can see how beautiful the stenciling looks, and then the Betterpress on top. Elegant, beautiful cards that you would be proud to send to anyone. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about this Betterpress system and products is it makes us all look like just like the best letterpress artists of all time. It truly is a better press. I was always intimidated by letterpress product, but this is like hardly any mess, no fuss. And I love, love, love that. And I love having a set of cards. If you like to give a set of gift cards to friends or family as a gift, or maybe your crafty besties, wouldn't it be beautiful to make a whole set of these and then give them to a friend, and it in a presentation box wrapped up with a ribbon and a pretty little tag or something? I think you could really do some fun things with that. I made mine more of a background element, as you can see, where we've got the stenciled background, then the Betterpress background, and then our Betterpress sentiment. And if you want it to be more of a focal point, I would definitely color in the different images, and that is fun as well. It really kind of just depends on the look that you're going for. So now I'm going to add a few additional gems. We're also going to finish off the rest of the cards. Some of the cards I kept one sentiment. So your kindness means so much. I can or don't have to add an extra sentiment down below the frame. The thank you cards, I did tend to like to add one of the smaller phrases. And I did glue everything directly to the background. I know I'm usually the foam adhesive queen, but for these, I kept it pretty simple. So here's an example of these cards. They're all going to be so easy to mail because they are not super thick. I know that can sometimes be a deterrent. So let's take a look at all of the cards. Here is the set of 5 featuring the background element where everything is pressed on one piece of cotton panel or cotton press cardstock. Here's our square frames. I did add some little heart embellishments to these as well. And our circular frames, I set the circle off to the left a little bit, then added greetings and lots of pretty gems. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this set of 15 Betterpress cards with the Pinkfresh Studio December 2023 release. The supplies I used to create my cards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for joining me today for another paper crafting tutorial. I love being able to share with this incredible community of crafters. I want to give a huge shout out and special thank you to my amazing Patreon members. If you're interested in joining Patreon, please click the link in the description underneath the video here on YouTube. Patreon is a private community where you can support more of what I do. There is exclusive content, information, and behind-the-scenes content. Top-tier members will receive a handmade birthday card during your birthday month, access to D-Stash, and monthly exclusive lives, plus so much more. We would love to have you join our growing community. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, click the like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new paper crafting video or I go live. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you next time.